Hello, I would like to welcome you to all this afternoon to the interview, which is going to be based on the last 3 days where you were exposed to intensive instruction, information, practice on CDFs. But in the first part, I would like you to introduce yourselves briefly, and then your name, your subject, and then your background, your country, as much as you want, briefly. And then I would like you to reflect back on your experience from yesterday when we went to the school and you observed classes. And I would like you to comment on the way the CDFs were used in the observations that you conducted, and how they were different from your context. I mean, your own teaching. I mean, do you use CDFs, for example? And then if that's different from what you saw yesterday or not. And then, and also I would like you to comment on if there's a role of language, explicit role of language in the observations you have conducted. And then how different or similar it is to your context. And finally, I will ask you a brief takeaway from these 3 days. What would you say? Okay, so shall we start? Okay, you start.
Okay, my name is Leiden. I am from Turkey and I'm an English teacher. I work with gifted students and they are between 8 to 18 years old.
Gifted students?
Gifted students, yeah.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Luis. I come from Spain. I also teach English in secondary school. So the ages are from 12 to roughly 18 years old. And, well, that's it, I think, to begin with.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Elena. I come from Slovakia and I teach music at lower secondary school, which means in Slovakia in our context is children aged 10 to 15.
Okay, thank you. So, I would like to think about the classes you observed yesterday and comment on the knowledge that you gained, actually, and also the knowledge you already had in relation to CDFs and use of CDFs in those classes.
Okay.
Which ones did you observe, for example? You can start from there.
I observed 2 classes, and one of them was English class, and the second one is art and design class. The first one was quite effective using in most of the steps of CDFs because it was inspiring for me to link the past and the today. They are working on a book named Fahrenheit, and she took some quotations from the book and they did some comments on this book with the link today. So it was quite inspiring for me because what we are trying to do here, I think, to make students think critically everything, and so she applied most of the steps like exploring, defining, discussing, and that was a good lesson. But the second one was rather teacher-oriented because she did lots of things. She expressed lots of things step by step for the students. And it was quite tense for the students, I think, because most of them are international students, I'm sorry. And then it was a little bit difficult for them to follow the teacher and follow the class.
What was the course, actually?
Art and design.
Art and design.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
And in my case, it was rather the other way around. I went to 2 lessons as well. First one was year 5, I think, so it's roughly 16 years old. It was an English lesson based upon an article. It was an open letter from a well-known actor to Hollywood in order to, well, I don't know, raise critical sense on, let's say, Latin actors in Hollywood, and the students should have read that in advance, but unfortunately they were not very they did not want to talk much that day, and it was, as you said, teacher oriented because it needed to be teacher oriented. So the teacher did an impressive work with them, trying to elicit any kind of answers from them, but in the end it didn't work. But he used all kinds of CTFs possible, and I think that his job was perfect. The second lesson was better on the side of the students because they were quite active. They were 12 years old, and well, yes, they participated a lot. They were interested in the topic, which was a chapter in a book they had to read, and well, the work displayed by the teacher was amazing. She had prepared a wonderful lesson, so it was very easy to follow on the side of the students, and it was so well structured that they had no problem. But I also have to say that the level of English was high in both cases, and the pupils' level of language was wonderful, was amazing, so everything was quite smooth. But yes.
You mean level of English of the students is high, as you said. Do you say
Yes.
it in comparison to your own
To
context?
nothing.
Okay, in
I
general.
actually want to say that I knew that here the level of English was good, but I was impressed when I saw it live because well, the classes was just natural, and the work done was wonderful, really. So I was quite happy about that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with Luis that I was also impressed with the level of English because those kids I observed in the first lesson. It was maths lesson, and actually they were first graders, so they were around 12, and all the teachers were actually native speakers, so there was no Dutch present at all in the lesson, and the teacher used really great scaffolding in terms of instructions, very clear, very simple language that was supported by visuals, by examples, by board displays. So kids really felt safe, and I could find, even though it was maths, I could find lots of CDFs in the lesson, even though I think that he would use it implicitly, that he was not even aware that he was doing that. And then what happened in the other lesson, it was global politics, which was really, well, even this type of a course is very unusual for my educational context, and these students were around 16, 17, and what they discussed was, the topic was legitimacy, and but this was very, as you mentioned, teacher oriented in a way that students did not produce much. However, they were given some task, and within the task, they all the CDFs were covered: identify, explain, evaluate. So all the steps. I don't know if the teacher was aware of that, but unfortunately, we couldn't see the production of students. So. I also observed the use of technologies, which is, I think, on a daily basis over there, even though I learned that according to Dutch law they are not allowed to use the phones, but all the schools work with some kind of Chromebooks or notebooks. And yeah, so in these terms, I think that even though the teachers were probably not aware of CDFs before, they use it in their classroom, in their context, either explicitly or implicitly.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, how would you connect this experience with your, own teaching, like in your context? And how similar it is, how different it is?
Actually, it was quite similar to my classes because as I work with gifted students, I need to lead them to lead critical thinking in the class or something like that. Because I'm a little bit flexible in my lessons because I have small groups, like 6 students, 4 students, so it's quite easy for me to prepare some materials for them to lead, explore, and do something like that. But these lessons led me to think about the missing points in my lessons. So that was a quite experience for me to see that kind of lessons and see the differences and the similarities between them. I have some missing points. For example, exploring sometimes in my classes, so I can add. and my students are a little bit below younger, I mean. So maybe I could use a little bit more complex sentences with them to lead them and harder them because they have the capacity of this. So that was a quite experience for me.
Thank you. What about you, Liz?
Well, as for me, both ways of teaching, as far as I know, from the two lessons I saw, are quite similar.
You teach content, actually.
Sorry?
Do you teach content in your
English.
process?
Yeah, English. And, well, basically, the two teachers I saw yesterday and I do the very same things in quite a similar way. The thing is that depending on the response of the students, we have to act accordingly. That's what happened yesterday. One of them had to go on speaking and trying to get what he couldn't get in the end because, I don't know, the students were lazy or whatever. And the other one, in the other case, it was easier. It so happens to me as well. So I feel happy about that because I can see that everywhere is the same. What else did I notice? Well, the use of computers, for example, you mentioned it. In my country, it's not usual to see laptops on the tables, and it's quite useful. But fortunately, as I say, it is not usual to see that. And what else? Similarities, well, yeah, the way of teaching, the kind of things you elicit from them, the sequencing of things, because you want to get them to say specific structures by guiding them, for example, or asking questions.
Something like scaffolding?
Yes. Sometimes it is scaffolding, sometimes it is just open questions for them to answer freely in order to get, well, in the end, CDFs. I agree with you. Teachers yesterday may not have known what CDFs are or what they are for, but they are using them.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me the first time I heard about CDFs. So everything is quite similar. And as for technology, well, it's except for the fact that we didn't use so many computers, it's similar as well. I don't know why. I suppose this was a high-tech country, and it is, but it's quite alike. Both countries are quite alike, and in my case, and what else can I say? I can't. Well, I think that'll be enough.
Yes,
For
thank
the
you.
time being,
That's
she will
That's
complete.
wonderful.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Okay, Elena.
Well, so I totally agree. I'm not going to comment on the teaching process because it's something that, well, actually we are trying to do. All right, we can have more technology, so this is, or maybe, well, we are trying to find the balance of the technology in the classroom so that it is beneficial for both sides. But what I really took a notice of is that structure of the bilingual school and system here in this country, because when we interviewed the director, he said that actually in here it works in a way that bilingual schools are in some kind of a network, and they keep an eye on the quality of each school, which is great, I think. And this is something that can be taken even to our context, because in Slovakia there are bilingual schools that they work on their own, they take their philosophy and they attract their students, but actually no one knows what. We just know that, okay, it's a quality, like, because some of the graduates go to that and that university, but in here, as he said, the accreditation system works in a way that every other year a director from other bilingual school comes and checks the quality of that school, so they know what they've been doing, and actually in the end there is that mission of raising up bilingual kids in the country, not just in their particular school. So and also the work of the teachers, it's a kind of within the groups or departments, they collaborate, they prepare the curriculum, they work on materials, as I could see in the global global politics subject. So they would update the material, which is obvious that politics changes with the time. So this is what makes it even, I think, more updated. So they do not work with some old-fashioned materials, and they adjust it according to what they teach.
Newest developments,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is what I liked.
Thank you. Okay, then what will you take with you as far as CDFs and the content of this training is concerned?
Actually, I have no idea about what CDF is before I came here, so I have learned a lot about CDF, and I think I will learn and dive into it more, and I will try to apply much of. I wasn't aware, but I was using some of the steps, but I will try to include all the steps in my courses.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you said what I was about to say. Now what else can I say?
You can just agree.
Yeah, I totally agree, but well, I have to say something else. So
No, not necessarily, just say.
no,
What is
really,
your take actually?
really, this is very important because, as she said, we have been using CDFs for a long time, us teachers, I mean, and probably we did not know what they were or what they were for. And now that we do, we can use them in a better way because we know them, we know what they are for, and we can make clear separations between the theory and the practice to get to a better conclusion for our students because that's our audience in the end. So I am happy to have learned lots of new things about CDFs and many other things, because in the end my practice will be better. I expect it will be better thanks to you all.
Yeah, thank you.
And for me, well, I knew something about CDFs. Now it was clearly introduced, but for me it was still confusing because we used Bloom's taxonomy, and now my take is that I learned, and I really believe, and I found that meaning in that Bloom is more about cognition, whereby this CDFs go more for the language. So now we are merging that language and content, which actually pushes it forward. So this is what I find the biggest benefit of in terms of understanding the concept. But then there is another added value of the people that we meet, of the things that we have experienced, and so I'm really grateful for that.
Thank you. Okay, last but not least, before I close, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I would like to thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
You as a group leader, my group leader, thank you very much, and all the people, because
The
the
organizers of the
organization,
conference.
because I had a chance to go to schools and do some observations. As well, I learned a lot from other people too. So thank you for this opportunity, all of you.
Yeah, of course, me too. I want to thank you all because these opportunities make us better in the end. So thank you, really.
Thank you too, actually. You were wonderful. Yes,
I will just finish with thank you, and maybe more possibilities of teacher training courses abroad, meeting together and sharing expertise and having time to discuss things, because we never find time to do it at home.
Thank you very much.